I was told just a couple days ago from somebody that the Mormons believe that Apostle Paul never died, and he's always been alive in some incarnation for 2,000 years. Apostle Paul. I don't trust that guy anymore. He looks a little too much like that Loyala dude. And I'm just reading from the New Testament Speaks. I like Wheaton College. Now, crisis and the common salvation. Now, these guys never diss Paul, but they bring in attention here to the New Testament and the 4 epistles, James, Jude, and Peter 1 and 2, and how they differ from Paul's epistles. One of them is that they are all in general to everybody out there. Paul's are specific to specific churches, intensely specific. James, Jude, Peter 1 and 2 are general, or you could call them Catholic. That's where the word Catholic comes from, is in general. Now, the difference is that it's almost like they're calling out emergency. The Antichrist is already on the scene. Now, they, at this point, could not tell whether it was going to be Paul and his effects or not. But I think we can look back and say, hey, maybe that's why the Christian church, one reason, why it's so lacking in miracles, lacking in faith. And remember, I don't know if you know this, but you want to do some research. Thomas Jefferson removed all of Apostle Paul's epistles from out of his Bible. Now, do you think that he would have been able to do what he did as an independent, breaking out, if he listened to Paul or read Paul? Because, see, Paul is kind of like, oh, everything is good, everything works, everything good. No. That is what is basically turning everybody into having a limp as a Christian. I just invite you to kind of have a look at some old books. And it says here, I wanted to take note that it says, precisely because of the uniqueness of his calling and the intensity of his involvement with certain churches, Paul was by no means a typical figure in the first century. Now, I don't like that already. And he had a uniqueness of calling and the intensity of his involvement with certain churches. Well, that sounds like a narcissist to me, because they always are very intense. They have their little right-hand, churches and so on, whereas Jude, James, Peter 1 and 2. And you got to look into Sherry Schreiner's stuff about Apostle Paul, because there's a lot in early Christian history where they did not trust Paul, and for good reason. We are now basically a church based on Paul, which Jesus himself said, the name Peter I'm giving to you because Peter is the rock. Church should be built on Peter, not Paul. It's time to just take a break from quoting Paul and read all about it.